And we're going, first of all, a good Woche, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful Shavuos and just great. I don't know. I don't know if I shared this with you. Maybe some of you I did, but what I want to do is I'm trying to, hold on just one second. There it goes. All right. Hold on just one second. I want to share with you this little thing here. That's for Shavuos night. I don't know if that reminds anybody anything. Whatever it is. All right. Sorry for fooling around like that. I apologize. Okay, so let's stop the share for a minute. All right, so Shavuos, Baruch Hashem, we had a wonderful night. We had a wonderful Kabbalah Satira. The wonderful thing about Kabbalah Satira is that we counted like 50 days, 49 days we counted, and the 50th day we stopped counting. There was no counting anymore. It comes to basically tell us, which has to do with tonight's Sichos Haran. Let's just share the screen of Sichos Haran for tonight. We'll read it and we'll talk about it. So, hold on just one second. There we go. Okay, tonight is Sichos Haran number 11, Yud Aleph. Ashreinu she'Hashem Yisbarach heitiv imanu. How fortunate we are that Kadosh Baruch Hu was kind to us very much. Shezachinu lekedushas Yisrael, that we were zeicher to the kedusha of being a Jew. Ve'amar, and he said, sheyesh lo simcha gedola, he has great joy. Al shazachal yes be'eretz Yisrael, the fact that he merited to be in Eretz Yisrael. כי כמה מניאס וכמה בלבולים וכמה מחשבס וכמה עיכובים וסכסוכים היה לו על עניין נשיא ארץ ישראל. How many hurdles, how many confusions, how many conflicting thoughts, how many problems along the way, how many conflicts he had about this matter of going to Eretz Yisrael. ומניאס מחמס המומן, also he had problems because of lack of money. V'kofetz al kulam, and he sprang over all of them. He jumped over everything. V'gomar uvda b'shleimus, and he finished the fact completely. V'haya b'Eretz Yisrael, and he was in Eretz Yisrael. V'omar, and he also said, Ze ani ma'amin, v'gam ani yodea harbe b'inyan zeh. This is something that I believe, and I also know a lot about this particular matter. Which matter is that? Shekol atnuas v'machshavas, all the actions and all the thoughts, v'chol minei ha'avodas, and all kinds of toiling. In other words, trying and failing and trying and failing. That you do for any fact that in Kedusha, ein shum tnua, there's no action, v'shum machshava ne'evedes klal, or no thought regarding that ever gets lost. And when somebody is fortunate to break all the obstacles, v'ligmor ha'uvda shebekdusha, and to finalize the fact in holiness. אזי נסיב מכל התנועות והמחשבות והבלבולים שהיו לו בעניין זה, Then from all the actions and all the thoughts and all the confusions that he had in that particular matter, meaning, in parentheses, before you broke them and you went over all the hurdles, at the time when you were in doubt and you're confused and you was weighing to and fro to do it, not to do it, and the manias were blocking him from every side. And afterwards, when a person is zeichet to overcome everything and to break everything that prevents him from getting what he wants. אזי נעשים מכל המניעס ומכל המחשבס והתנועס והבלבולים הנ"ל, דברים עליונים למעלה בקדושה. All those obstacles, all those thoughts, all those actions, all those confusions, from them, they become extraordinarily supernal things above in Kedusha. והכל נרשם למעלה לטבע, and everything is written above לטבע. כל תנועה ותנועה שהיה לו מקודם כנ"ל. Every single act that he had before. Every single action that he took before. Everything is written above לטבע. אשרי כשזוכים לקפוץ על כל המניעס. Fortunate is he once one it merits to overcome all the obstacles, and one merits to finish and do some kind of a good action, a good uvda, a good accomplishment in Kedusha. This is something which is very, very clear and very, very common to everybody who has ever gone to Uman. Going to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, it's fraught with confusions and bilbulim and pushing and shoving and nerves and despairs and hope and waiting and hurrying and not knowing where the breakthrough is ever going to come. And it seems like in the last moment there are hurdles that are coming up that you never thought of, and everybody's pushing everybody. At the end, when you come to Uman and you spend Rosh Hashanah in Uman, people tend to get very agitated and they don't have much patience for all the things that are along the way, all the things that are stopping them from getting there and doing, and they get very annoyed, they get very frustrated, everybody pushing, everybody is short-tempered and everything else. But the main point is that being in Uman for Rosh Hashanah does not start when you get to Uman on Rosh Hashanah. Going to Uman is just an excellent parable, excellent mashal, because it's so obvious. That fact is so obvious because it's so concentrated. You have like a few days, you're making preparations for at least a month, 2 months or more. And it begins and it ends usually within a week. Then you're coming back home and you're panting. And it takes time to get over it, usually until after Yom Kippur. It depends what age you are. But it really takes long. And a lot of people get, come from Uman with various colds and whatever it is, because apparently the germs in Uman are a little different than the germs here or whatnot. And not only this, but once you come back, as we spoke last week, that when you do something b'kedusha that is very, very significant, what happens as it happens is that you have there's a trough after the peak, and you feel like all the cheshek to Sefer Kodesh Baruch Hu is like sucked away, and you're standing there deflated, not knowing, what did I do this for? Like, what's this? I understand what's the big spritz? Like, I said, get up to, I don't feel like getting up. Get up to down, what are you talking about? Eh. It's because you visited such a high place, and now you're at the next stage. The thing is that people tend to forget that the trip to Uman, every single step on the way to Uman, when you start making the plans and how you're going to do it and how it's going to happen, whatever it is, all this constitutes the trip and what happens afterwards. All this constitutes a one unit with the trip to the tzaddik. And it's a life-changing event. It's a fulcrum. I mean, your life until then, and then your life from then on. The same thing applies to every single endeavor, Shebekdusha. Every single endeavor, some things more blatantly, some things more covertly, but the principle is the same. Every single obstacle, every single confusion, every single failure, every single stubbornness play a part. And not only play a part, but they are there forever. They're waiting for you and exist for you in this world and in the next one forever. Sometimes when you go through the hardships that are standing on your way, as we said, it's very easy to get dispirited and try to find ways, obviously to smooth it out. Why not? There's no problem. But you have to understand that the obstacles that come your way and the difficulties that come your way did not happen because you failed to plan. This is not a business plan, where they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This is not what the trip, anything that has to do with Kedusha is about. Enochinami, you have to prepare yourself. You have to bring all the things into account, and you have to plan. I mean, if you're planning on going to Uman, anybody that has a shtickle sechel, put some money aside from the beginning of the year and don't touch it. So from this, B'ezrat Hashem, you won't have problems. But it does not mean that you won't have problems, because the problems are not money problems. The problems are because I do not merit the kedusha that is inherent in that particular act that I'm trying to accomplish. As we learned last week, the thing is that when you come and you want to reach the next level, all the adversaries, the spiritual adversaries, you're like, what, me? I have any spiritual adversaries? I don't know anybody. Who cares that? Who cares about me? Who knows me? Oh, plenty. It seems to you that you live this small, private, unnoticed life. Nobody knows about you. You're not one of those big people I know big Talmidei Chachamim, big tzaddikim, famous people. You just, I'm just me, nothing. You should know that your life is a complete life. And it's a total Indian. Your life is a novel and you are the hero of that novel. And everything that happens is a struggle that you are overcoming, another obstacle, another obstacle, another obstacle. And the tzaddik is watching over you. And when you're up to getting something really, really worthwhile, when you're fighting to get a toehold on a certain madregesh b'kedusha, there's so much effort that you need to put in. Imagine it, just to give you a little example that you can sort of like use to understand. It's not like a person who has a 9-to-5 job in the Iriat Bet Shemesh. This is not the correct parable. If you want to understand a little bit what's at stake here and why it is so difficult and why it is really fraught with so many obstacles, imagine that you have in your mind to become a multi-billionaire, a tycoon, okay? Or you're going to make a worldwide organization from scratch. Now, I remember I once heard Rabbi Refson, who made Neve Yerushalayim and a few other organizations. And he gave a speech about what it takes to build an organization from scratch. And he said, it was a very amusing, very, Chaim, you should have been there, but it was before you're born. Anyhow, so he started, says, I'm the right person to really tell you about starting an organization from scratch. He says, because I've started many organizations from scratch, many of whom returned to scratch. And the idea is that you have to understand that it is inevitable. If you're out for big game, not rabbit shoot, but big game, if you're out to hunt lions, like big game. There are some obstacles along the way. He said one of the things that you have to be very careful is not to surround yourself with naysayers, people that know all the reasons why it is impossible to do what you're trying to do. And they have proof to it. First of all, it has never worked. Anybody who tried it always failed. That's proof number one. And if nobody ever tried it, that's the biggest proof, because if it were possible, somebody would try it. So he says, get rid of them. They'll only bring you down. And the third thing he said that what you have to understand about making an organization from scratch, which is basically doing any act b'kedusha from scratch. It can be waking up chatzos, it can be davening vasikin, it can be learning Torah, it can be anything. Is that he said we're talking about before CG. Many years ago, they came out with a movie called Superman. And before they came with this, for today's generation, it sounds like, what's the big deal? Duh. The thing is that those times there was no computer generated, graphics. There was before the age of computers. So all the movies, the Superman movies until that time didn't really, excuse the expression, the pun, fly because Superman didn't fly. It's just like, it was like suspended in midair and they moved the background behind it goes, and that was supposedly Superman flying, right? But it didn't convince anyone. So before this movie came about, before this movie came out, so they all say it all depends on one fact. Is he going to fly? If he's flying, it'll be great. If he doesn't fly, it won't fly. Okay, anyhow. So he said that actually he was visiting one of his philanthropist friends in Hollywood, and he saw a film, the filming of an action movie, in which I think I told you this story before, but I have to recycle. I don't have that many. So it says the hero is holding this machine gun that weighs half a ton, and he's running, and he jumps on top of a wall, and in the air while he's telling he shoots and he shoots everybody, and he's standing on the top of the wall. He can do everything. And so he said, and how is it done? Is that the machine gun that looks so heavy is really made out of cardboard, and the actor is wearing a harness which is tied to very, very thin steel strings. And the only thing that he does is that he is running and he jumps. And once he jumps, the strings, the ropes pull him up. Uh, and from then on, there's no problem. He has all the time in the world to shoot everybody, to have long conversations, whatever he wants. The same thing applies to starting an organization from scratch or doing any Uvasha B'Kedusha. I mean, Rabbi Avram Stackman, started the Breslov Shul. There was no way he's going to do it. There was no way he's going to do it. There's no chance. Forget about it. Except he didn't forget about it. Well, what he did, he ran and he jumped. When everybody expected him to land with a dull thud. But it didn't happen. Once he ran and he jumped, he was picked up. There's a shul standing there. The same thing applies to everything. You go ahead and you have the one thing that you need is called in Hebrew is called Gmirus Das. It means that your mind is made up. The most difficult aspect of serving a Kodesh Baruch Hu is that your mind isn't made up. You're not resolute. It's not what they call it in Yiddish an ugeret thing, something that there's nothing more to discuss anymore. Because anything which is in a state of gmirus das, of firm decision, this is it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's there are difficulties, but they're just like, all right, that's part of the course. And you keep on keeping on. In fact, anybody who suffers from depression, today they give him pills. The reason why they have to give them pills is because depression is a direct result of a lack of a goal. You have no reason to be. There's no reason to live. There's no good reason to live. There's no good reason to wake up in the morning. There's no good reason to do any of that. That is the hardest factor when it comes to serving Hashem. In fact, this is the bechira that a person has. Reaching Gmiras Das, reaching a resolution, an unquestionable resolution. This is it. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about this. That's what I'm going to do. Once you do this, once you're resolute, you'll overcome absolutely everything. It has to do with the Sicha that Rabbeinu said, when the day comes, I give over the day to Kodesh Baruch Hu, all my actions, everything I'm going to do, whatever it is, I'm giving it over to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And he says, from that point on, I don't worry about it. I'm going to do whatever it is I'm going to do. If Kodesh Baruch Hu wants it this way, he'll make it this way. If he wants it, differently, he'll make it differently. That's fine. It's finished. There's nothing more to talk about. There's no more reason to. And then when you go ahead and you do it, I remember many, many years ago, I heard this from a therapist, Hillel. This is one for you. He said, here, I'll tell you a Jewish story. A Jewish story. A Jewish story says a guy decided that he's going to impress his rabbi. I don't know how Jewish a story this is, but he's going to impress his rabbi. How is he going to impress his rabbi? He is going to fast for a whole week. And it was extremely difficult. And on the fifth day, he said, there's no way he's going to do it. He just won't make it. And decides, something, I'm going to eat. And then he thinks about it, says, no, something, I'm going to decide, I'm not going to eat. So after the sixth day, he comes to his rabbi, says this therapist, and the rabbi says, no, I don't accept piecemeal work. I told him this is the most Christian story I've ever heard in my life, except you put the name rabbi on it. This is the opposite of Judaism, diametrically opposed to what Judaism is about. The fact that he faltered and he strengthened himself again and made it is far greater than if he would have broken the Guinness Book of World Records and made it easily slid into the sixth day, shiny, and content, and says, well, give me another 7 days and I'll just show you what I can do. So the main thing that you do not understand, Adam, is that Judaism is not a ceremony. It's a regimen. It's not an achievement-based discipline, but an effort-based discipline. So what is the achievement? Rabbeinu speaks here about achievement. This is the fact that once you overcome everything and you achieve it, he says that's the greatest level of it all. So if this is an effort-based system, how come the achievement itself is so important? The answer is because achievement and davasha b'kedusha, something that has to do with holiness, is really possible only with such resoluteness that you're willing to come to a point of failure. Okay. In fact, Shavuos is all about that. This is what we said. I started talking about Shavuos, that we counted 49 days in preparation for Shavuos. Shavuos itself is the 50th day. It's not counted. Today is 50th day to Omer. No, we don't count. This represents the fact that the 49 days before Shavuos, we did whatever it is that was in our power to do. We prepared ourselves. We counted. We did our part, as it were. The 50th day, receiving the Torah, does not belong to the realm of possible. Torah is divine. It does not belong to the world of matter. It is cloaked in material things, yeah, in what you eat. In fact, every single point of life, there's a halacha that pertains to it. But Torah itself is totally divine. And a human that is flesh and blood has no way of ever attaining Torah. The way it needs to be done is that he goes through the 49 days, you do whatever it is that you can. Then there's the 50th day with the mikveh of Shavuos that we spoke about. Mikveh is, Reb Nosson speaks about it, he says that mikveh is a situation of self-annulment. It's bitul. When you exchange the letters of hey and vav, so tvila, dunking, and the mikveh is the same letters as bitul. What happens is that when you go into the water, the halachic requirement for a mikveh is maim she'oilim b'kol gufay. Is water that's enough for you to immerse your entire body. It is a state in which life is not sustainable. You can breathe underwater. Mikveh, in fact, is a throwback reminder to the pre-creation state. Water within water. It comes to Torah in order to receive Torah. You don't achieve Torah. You receive it. You do whatever it is that you can. You count the 49 days. And then you jump. You're going inside the mikveh, inside the water, that, in other words, like it's Mesiras Nefesh without dying. You're jumping, you're going over, you're going into that thing. You're going to go either to build a shul or to go to Uman or whatever it is, fully expecting that if it fails, it fails. That's not up to me. But I'm going to stick with it. Success, achievement, as it were, is not the overriding goal, as it were, that makes everything before it immaterial. It's not winning the World Series or the Super Bowl. Success is a proof that you didn't give up. Success is Hashem giving you as a present that which you longed for, that which you yearned for, that which you suffered all frustrations and the failures and getting up and falling down and getting up and falling, everything. You kept on going until HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you success. If you remember Sipuri Maisias, we spoke, that when he went to the forest, we asked, why is this such an important decision? He decided to go after the animals instead of going back to the merchant. And we said that it was the right decision, even though it was based on illogical fear. It's okay. The way you are is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to be. Don't worry. With your conflicts and your inner conflicts and your obsessions and your confusions and lack of knowledge and lack of abilities, you are custom made. Like the world's most complicated Fabergé egg, as it were. You are like perfect for that which you need to do. Even though when you take a look at yourself, you see that you are just a bundle of needs, a quivering bundle of needs. This is if you're a regular person. If you are Oved Hashem, you are a quivering bundle of inadequacies. Everywhere you look, you see things that you can't do. Everywhere you look, it says, I can't believe I did that again. I went ahead and did it again. Unbelievable. The thing is that stick with it. Stick with it. From every single thing that you put in, if you fail, bevadai, especially more so if you have been stubborn enough and stick to it enough, you stuck to it enough, until the Kodesh Baruch Hu gave you for free the success. Every single step along the way has built you. You know what they say, that anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger, kind of thing. It's exactly it. This is it. Whenever it is that you resolutely and illogically stick with what you know that you want and need to do b'kedusha, whether it works out or not, whether it comes about or not, doesn't matter. And you stick with it, you'll get it as a gift. That's what Chazal said. Yagasa umatzata, if you toiled, if you worked hard, and you found, ta'amin, believe. It's true. Yagata v'lo matzata, you have toiled, you didn't find, al ta'amin. Says, lo yagata matzata, al ta'amin. You didn't toil and you found, don't believe. There's nothing more false than an overnight success. But there's an inherent question that says, like, What does it mean? Yagata or matzata tamin. One of the things that occur, you know, without a person actually working and looking for them, is a metzia, found, lost and found. You can't go in the streets looking for lost things. You just walk in the street and lo and behold, there's a coin in the street. Okay, you found it. So in fact, there's a dichotomy between it's oxymoronic statement to say you worked hard and you found. In other words, something that just happened, believe. It's true, it's real. There's a dichotomy between the two things, they contradict one another. Mitzvah has nothing to do with work. Work, I mean, it's achievement. But the truth is that if you put the toil into it, there's not enough toiling in the world for anybody to achieve Kedusha. But if you put your ratzon into it, when you get it, it's a gift. It's a total found. It's a find. If you find yourself in a situation where you are along the way, oh, Niv is sailing in the sea. I like that. If you find yourself that you are in a state that you're about to give up, come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Try to find out what is it that is actually making you want to give it up, and ask him to help you with it, and keep on keeping on. The latter part of the Rabbeinu says what these things, every single nuance, every single trouble that you had along the way, what this creates for you in Olam Esilyonim, and the kind of Gan Eden that it prepares for you. I mean, I don't have any words to express this. This is beyond absolutely anything that we can think of. But this world wants to convince you that you have to make it. You're a self-made man, I did it my way, kind of thing. You just put your nose to the grindstone. Stick with it. Every single frustration, every single tear, every single drop of sweat, everything is infinity. It's infinity. And if you fail, start again. You have the tzaddik with you. Remember, this world is actually, when you take a look in this world, everything in the world is lacking. There's no one country where everything is okay. Whenever politicians, when they're running for campaigns, whatever it is, they point out everything that goes wrong with the world, with the other guy being the prime minister or whatever. And what do you think? If you're going to be the prime minister, everything will go right? No, but I know what to do. Then he becomes prime minister, and he doesn't know what to do. Well, I thought I might know what to do. The point is that the world, even the tzaddik emes, he himself is not lacking anymore, but his avodah of rectifying the entire world is still not finished. It's still chaser. It's still lacking. So when you realize that you do your part and you're lacking, man, am I lacking from here to kingdom come. Forget about it. Anywhere I look, I'm a quivering bundle of lacks, of inconsistencies, of incapacities, of failures, of pathetic failures. That's okay, because I'm part of this big system of tikkun olam that the tzaddik is running. It's not my job to build a palace. Rabbeinu says, you bring the brick and mortars, and I build the palaces. Building the palaces is the avodah of the tzaddik. That's not my work. I need to bring brick and mortars. Brick and mortars means making a bracha. Now I have something in my hand. I'm going to make a bracha. A bracha says, okay, word for word. Bracha sanenim. And you have all kinds, you know, Bari Nefashis that gets lost and whatever. You just find yourself lacking all. It's fine. Start again. This is it. This is the fight. Whatever it is, every single struggle that you have, whether it is in Shlom Bayis, whether it is in Parnasa, whether it is in Avodas Hashem, whether it is in anything, it's all part of one thing. Just rely on the koyach of the tzaddik. He is with you. And he completes everything that you need to complete. Baruch Hashem, this is Sicha Yad Aleph and Sichos Haran. Bezat Hashem. Thank you for suffering with me tonight. Bezat Hashem, Monday night, we will go back to 9 o'clock, Mitzvah Hashem, and we will, Mitzvah Hashem, be doing Sipurei Maisius, and in Mitzvah Hashem, we'll be getting into the forest. That's the new level. So let me just open up here. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, I see everybody here. Let me just